Hey guys, it's time for another How to Hike the Shawnee with Matt. Today we're looking at Lusk Creek Trailhead, specifically how to get to Owl Bluff. Now this is a great hike for the fall season, to see some color. You're going to cross Lusk Creek, so it's a great time to do this now because the water is usually really low and you don't have to worry about getting your feet all wet. And it's just a really good time to get into the forest. I just hiked this yesterday, which was October 12th. And the temperatures were perfect for hiking. The outdoors was perfect. So let's take a look. First off, here's our general area, and here's the Lusk Creek Wilderness area. And this is just a little bit east of Eddyville. Eddyville calls itself the trail capital of Illinois. They have tons and tons of trails and horse camps and like on both sides of Route 145. So I'm going to access this area off Route 145, whichever way you're coming from, north or south. You're probably going to be coming into this area on 145. And right here, and I'll zoom in a little closer here, you'll have New Home Road. And New Home Road, you'll follow it. Let me get my marker out. New Home Road, you'll follow it to this trailhead right here. This is the Lusk Creek Trailhead, and it's really nice. It's like a really great parking lot. It's actually got a bathroom, and from this trailhead you can go about 3 or 4 different directions here. I usually like to do this gravel circle. This is a great little hike, but today we're going to take the 001 to the right, which that is going to be, I'm just going to usually hike down the road a little ways, walk down the road a little ways to get to this trailhead, or to get to this actual trail here. So, you know, there's a path. You can take this and turn right, but usually I'll just walk that like 1/10 of a mile down the road and access it. So the hike is pretty simple. You're just going to be following the 001, and just like anywhere in the Shawnee, you got to kind of keep your eyes open because there's some trails that you'll miss if you're not paying attention. Well, fortunately for us, most of those trails are actually marked. So the first one you're going to come up to is this guy right here. There's a nice sign telling you the Wishing Well Trail is to the left. You're going to go to the right and stay on 001. So probably the Shawnee Trail Conservancy, because they do this quite a bit, have replaced a lot of gravel. This trail gets a lot of riding, and last time I walked it, it was like a mud bog, maybe in August, I think, or something. I was in this area and it was like terrible, but they have dumped a ton of large gravel and made the trail a lot more walkable. One of my favorite aspects of walking this trail is just how varied it is. It goes from being like super gradually easy terrain to stuff like this, you know, really kind of some tough, rugged hiking, lots of big chunky rocks, and it's just a really awesome trail. So many different, you know, the Shawnee throws so much different types of terrain and ruggedness at you. And you know, like today in the fall, like right now, if it hasn't rained much, trail conditions are always just awesome. I didn't even really get my boots muddy, so this was a really great hike, but it still got my legs a little bit sore. Completely unmarked trail here. This goes, I think, to a horse camp or something. It shouldn't probably even be here. It needs to be marked, but you got to look out now because this is a wilderness area, and you know, everything's supposed to be so natural here. Somebody had the bright idea of making little wooden signs for the trail. You can't really see them. Kind of defeats the purpose in my opinion, but I guess they look nice. So one of the most difficult aspects of doing this hike is getting across Lusk Creek at some points in the year. Now right now it's not going to be a problem. There's a little kind of beaver dam right to the right of the actual horse crossing, and you can walk across it without even getting your feet wet. Just look to your right when you get to the creek. Otherwise, you're probably going to have to take your shoes off. Now in the winter, I will, if I'm doing this in the winter, I've got some waterproof boots, but usually the creek, if it's at least a bit rainy, then it's going to be over the top of your boots. So a lot of times I might end up just taking them off and putting on some kind of water shoes or something. You'll have wet, cold feet for a little bit, but it's better than having wet, cold boots. There's an image of that beaver dam. So right after you cross the creek, be on the lookout for a trail to the right. It's not very well marked. You'll see a trail to the left that kind of follows the creek and a trail up the hill to the right. And you want to go up the hill to the right. And you're going to be climbing up this hill up over the creek and heading towards Owl Bluff. So when you get to Owl Bluff, be on the lookout for, you'll know you're there when you see a horse tie-up line to the left. It's not really well signed, but you'll see this wide open area and you'll say, okay, there's a sign. You want to look to your right. You don't want to miss this. You could walk right by it if you didn't know it was there. And there's a little trail down the hill, and that's going to take you to Owl Bluff. I've hiked here many times, and this is the very first time that I actually arrived and there was like people here. There was a big crowd this day, and as soon as that big crowd left, another big crowd showed up, and then another big crowd showed up. So I didn't really take any video or anything down at the bluff, but here you can see the area and just kind of the general area around. Now the horseback riders were really friendly. They were really great people, all of the ones I met yesterday, and I met quite a few, but everybody was super friendly and nice. And one of the horseback riders at Owl Bluff told me that this was actually called High Point, and at some point they had changed the name, which if you look on the map again, you'll see it says High Point underneath Owl Bluff. So this is the kind of hike that you gotta, it's about 7 miles round trip, and it's really, really, really worth it. It's the kind of place that most people that just park their car and walk the little observation loop at Glendale or something, they're not going to see this view. It's really worth hiking. It's a great hiking experience, and I'd really highly recommend getting out and checking out this part of Lusk Creek Wilderness area and just checking out just as much of the Shawnee as you can. It's a really, really, really wonderful hike. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys can get some use out of this video, and I hope everybody has a safe and fun time in the Shawnee. See you later.